We grew up not understanding the line of fearing our parents, concept that made our relationship with our parent distant. But where is the line between fear and expressing yourself as a child at home?
My relationship with my parents, I can say, there was, of course, there's fear, as in you fear your parents. Kwanza growing up, as in hungewahi fanya kitu anything that's wrong at this point, and I think that kind of grew me at a point. We were raised in an environment where you should fear your parent. I think they put the context of God-fearing and, fear your parent, literally, like ogopa mzazi. But it's not supposed to be like that. It's supposed to be in the concept of that you respect them. The fear is the respect, the obedience, the likes. But it's not supposed to be a place where you feel like ni kama unanyonga huo mtoto. At a point you're suffocating this kid. It's fine venye, okay, how we were raised gave us a severe character development, but most of us, I think at this point, especially my age, kuendelea, this age bracket ya watu the 90s kids, wacha tuseme hivyo, and the ones before, at least naanza kuona like the 2000 kids are a bit, they have parents who are a bit tuseme relaxing, they are a bit wanasikiza at a point, and sisi 190s we get to a point where mtu alikuwa this parent cannot even give you like 5 things they know about their kid, like genuine things, like mtoto anapenda nini, hapendi nini, is allergic to what. Okay, for allergies they can know because health records na vitu kama hizo. They probably don't even know their birthday, walisahau kitambo sana, so ajuanga anasomanga wapi, fees yenye analipa, and probably kiatu ya yenye anabanga, and probably alisahau considering. But I think we need to get to a place where we actually, yes, show them that I am your parent, so you need to respect me, you need to obey me, you need to. But isifike to a point, it's fear to a point mtoto hawezi kuja kuambia anything, because a parent should be the person they go to in case things go wrong. And you can't have that if I fear you. So to a point, I'd rather talk to a stranger nikwambie venye mzazi wangu amefanya ama what is going on in my life rather than tell my parent. Then later no wonder unasikianga mzazi anakuja later anakwambia mimi sikujua anafanyanga hivyo. Yet it's because they trusted someone else who led them astray, because that person won't give you advice in a way to actually lead you into a very constructive way. So most of the times you find like kids need this kind of place. It's like a comfort zone where they can talk about things, talk about issues, talk about anything, and not feel like they are being suffocated in an element, And it's fine, you can tell, you can communicate things, That's why you find a lot of teenagers tend to rebel, because, ni ile una try to prove that you also can live your life, yet wewe bado ndo umeanza kukua, and then you feel suffocated because there is someone else trying to control your life and things like that. So it ends up being like a struggle between the parent and the kid.
Sahi mzazi ukiuliza any parent anywhere to mention what their child likes, 5 things their child's like, ni ngumu sana for them to say. First tunaweza sema because the parent and the child hawana hiyo concrete relationship. Unaweza pata maybe the parent is not as much as involved in this child's life as should be required. No. Also another factor you need to put in is that we grow, we interact with different individuals, we acquire new things from outside. It's like social learning. And maybe at home you find that you used to eat with your hands. There's a child who from their place they eat with cutlery. So when you come and meet, you exchange ideas. So you find that even when you go home, maybe you might start using cutlery. That is like something you've acquired from outside. But also a parent should notice these trends, should notice that a child is changing. but yes, sasa ako confined to you, to actually to him or her. You are that 5-year-old child that he or she raised. You have not changed. If you are going to serve mass, whether you are Christian, if you are going to the mosque every Friday, whether you are an SDA on Saturdays, or you are just an atheist, I do not understand. A parent should be greatly involved in their child, not just as a child, but even when they are grown. Unapata these days, somebody hasn't gone home for like 10 years.
As much as unafaa kuwa mkali, you have to be firm in your decisions. Lazima you be firm, not in a very harsh way, but in a very confident way that they see, mom here amesema a no is a no. So hatafanya hiyo kitu, atajua tu for mom this one is a no. Yeah? And then kuna ile unalegeza kamba kidogo, you know. Si saa yote tu ni kiboko. Sometimes kiboko huwa haiwork.
But where is the line between fear and expressing yourself as a child at home?
It is a very thin line. It is like a love-hate kind of line, because when you're trying to express yourself, what really matters in this situation that you're trying to explain yourself is how you relay said information. And how a child knows how to relay information is from the parent. So you know, as a child, maybe mtu ndio mzazi ya make point anakushautia 24/7, unaona. So mtoto anajua aje kuexpress nini zake. He will also shout. So to a parent, when you shout back, ina sound kama disrespect, but hajui that is a reflection of what he or she was doing to you, unaona. Ukisema we are expressing ourselves in an African setting, sorry to say, hakuna hiyo bed or hiyo podium ya watoto wamepewa ati we will be able to talk. No, not like these days where you find these modern parents. Sasa us, modern parents, sasa people talking to their children, they're asking them, how are you doing, yada yada yada. It's not all about education. It's just like how are you doing mentally. Mtoto anaanza kuambia this and that. Kitambo it was just like, how are you doing in school? Report card inapeanwa, done and dusted. See you next time. Hiyo ndio time tutokea tena. As for me, expression in the house was there, but at a certain age. At around 15, I started expressing myself.
In an effort to eliminate this fear and try to create a friendly parent-child relationship, there are several mechanisms that parents have ignored which can be important.
I think the first step to be able to do that successfully is to create friendship with your child. You know, make sure that you have that, you sit together, create friendship. When the child is still young, when they grow up, they will know you much as a friend than a parent. Okay, and as you know, friends are people who talk about nitty-gritty things about their life. So even before you ask them about their mental health condition or whatever that is going on in their lives, they will open up themselves because they know you as a friend who shares, who can listen to them, who is there for them. So it will be very easy for you without interfering with their privacy. Sometimes you will find because of their friendship that is there and the confidence that you build with the children, they will even share with even their private issues to you because they feel safe. You've created that rapport with them enough. They feel safe to tell you everything.
Most young adults and children fear talking to their caregivers and parents because, the foundation of a friendly environment was not created.
Parents don't know how to be friends with their children. But the friendship element begins with that security I was telling you. When you make your child feel secure before you, then they will also develop with that sense of trusting. But there is no way that you can begin later in life and expect to succeed. The process must begin and grow alongside the growth of this child. And some of the ways in which we can help a child to feel secure is by developing, learning to give them liberty to do things from the word go. This little kid who is growing up, teach them to clean up the mess that they have done, teach them to wash some basic things for themselves, teach them to clear the table, a sense of responsibility. As a sense of responsibility grows, they trust you, and when trust also increases, then they'll be able to tell you, to open up to you in life. So it should begin from the word go. Parents should not pamper their children and spoil them to be brats, but they should be trained from the word go to learn to develop that sense of independence. And parents also should learn to give them space. Even physical space is very important for their privacy. And I want you to know that generally, as we grow into teenhood, we tend to develop, it's a normal thing to want to keep away from authority figures, to be secretive, and to move more towards your influencers who are your peers. But if you had developed as a parent a close relationship, then they will go to their peers, but they will counter-check what their peers are saying versus what you're saying. And when they realize that you're knowledgeable and you already know and you have told them what their peers are telling them, then that will neutralize the influence of their peers.
Mental disorder can be caused by minor things which cause children at homes to suffer mentally. These minor details have highly been ignored in our homes.
We keep talking depending on the topic that she has brought or something you've seen that you feel inafaa kuongelelewa. Like there was a clip that was making rounds on WhatsApp where a child told the mother that you are telling me ulikuwa unanichapa ukiniambia afadhali nikufe sijui what. Then the child hung himself akisema, I hope that I'm dead, your life will be happy. Some of these things tunafanya kwanza saa hizi asira za our generation now, my generation ni ziko juu, yeah, zinaletwa na pressure za maisha sana. You have kids, maybe huna job, maybe hata job yenyewe haikusustain. Sasa uko na stress zako, mtoto akikuja kukuuliza swali, you wish that they were dead, so now without thinking na hiyo asira yote unashtukia umeambia mtoto. You don't know how these things affect these children. So in one way or another, unajua hiyo venye tulikuwa tunaambiwanga sikuchapi wewe na chapa makosa. That is now the approach we are using. Sikuchapi wewe na chapa makosa. Where you cannot beat, you just sit them down and say this and this and this was done wrong. I don't want to see this, and if it repeats itself, ujue nitachukua kiboko.
As much as it's a relationship, like I can't imagine the one time I've ever discussed with my mom, like, so kuna uchali, and we had like a full-on conversation with you, like when you unakuanga na best friend yako. It doesn't happen, because the moment you mention like a guy or a girl, and then maybe they broke your heart, the next moment is like, kuna kuwa na wengine usikuwe na nini, and which is fine, it is okay, but I don't want to feel judged for just wanting to talk about something. I just want to feel like I am talking about something. So I think we should normalize having a culture of talking, and not just talking to be judgmental. I remember there was once I told my mom that sometimes I don't need you to be my mom, I need you to be my friend. And that is where it makes the difference, because if it comes to a point where I want to talk to her, she's the only person I can talk to. But whenever I come to her she comes to me as my mother, I'll feel her judging me, not listening to what I'm trying to say. When she comes as a friend, she'll be able to guide you in a motherly essence with a, more affectionate, without the judgmental parent cloud that is running through her mind. The moment unamwambia like something about relationship, her mind will go like, I don't know whether in overdrive, her mind just goes on overdrive. It starts thinking the way you want to get married, have kids and all that, and you're just talking about a crush, and asha kwambia wachana hayo, watakupea mimba uende. And at that moment, you see, now she's talking as a parent. She needs to be as a friend to tell you like, these things indeed happen. You will find someone that you like, you will find someone that you love, and probably they won't be the one. And now she'll advise you with the experience she's had, considering she was also a young person.
Developmentally, according to psychology, when a child is very young, they are under the control of the parents. That is the dominant person. But as they move to school, the dominant person is the teacher. And that's the person that the child focuses on as the source of help, security, support, and help. But as they move towards the teenhood, that's why we call that age teenhood, the teens or fellow peers begin to take over as the source of authority. But by that time, if the parent and the teacher had played their good role, then whatever the teens will say will land on a ground that is already solidified. You know, they already have gained knowledge from the parents, gained knowledge from the teacher, and therefore they will now become the drivers of their lives. They will be able to counter check what their fellow teens are saying, and find a proper footing. So it will be a lot easier for a parent to access their lives, even when the peers have taken over as the new source of authority.
We keep talking about them in the house most of the time, especially about changes in their bodies that might cause the depression to come in, the mental health, you know. Mental health is not just about relationships and stuff. It can be even your body parts. It can be even failures in your life. You know, you start failing. Maybe at the age, it depends, yeah. So when I get disappointed, then you become depressed. So those are mental issues for them. Wengine, maybe they are sick, and then they hizo mental health zinaanza kukuja due to sickness, and hawajui watafanya aje. So I try to tell my daughter, especially who is 13, that at this point of your life, you will expect a lot of things, even disappointments from us parents, or disappointments from your peers, your brothers, and you will feel like the world is against me. But all you have to do is that we are here and we want to talk to you at any given time. You know, African parents, tunakuanga na ile, we have that thing that a child is not supposed to talk to you about certain issues. So you scare them away in one way or another. But I believe it's time that African parents embrace that culture of talking to children as young as they are, because they say between the age of 0 to 12 years, hapo mtoto anakula kiboko sawa sawa. You instill the discipline in that child. But from 13, now you sit down and talk about these mistakes. So unaona, from 13 ukianza kuchapa mtoto, anaanza kufikiria huyu mama ananichukia, huyu baba ananichukia. But wewe unafikiria you are instilling discipline. But no, this is the time where you sit down and talk. So yes, we try as much as we can, not everything, because they are young. You can't instill everything in them. So you keep whatever they can hold is what you talk about.
It is difficult for parents who are not keen on their children to notice the signs of mental disorder. These signs are here with us, but we are mentally absent to those who need intervention.
A person who has mental disorders at teenhood may have a general drawing away from a healthy person. And I would look at it from several dimensions. I would look at it from the emotions. You'll begin to see changes in the emotions of this person. Maybe there is persistent sadness in their lives. And sometimes you will find them cry, worry, or ruminating, on a particular behavior. And even their physical image will show a person who is sad. And then emotionally also, they can manifest a lot of anger and frustration, and this becomes publicly played out by this individual. You'll find them when they are with their peers, they want to throw their temper around, and they don't have a sense of boundary. Then emotionally also, they can start manifesting irritability. And if you follow their nightlife, then they are unable to sleep. They suffer from insomnia, or sometimes they can suffer from excessive sleep. So those are the emotional manifestations. And then behaviorally, you can start hearing somebody talk about having tension headache. They are constantly not in good health physically. They are fatigued. They have what you call the hapa na huko, syndrome, which they can't quite explain what is aching them, but they have got some aches in their physical body. Low self-esteem, behaviorally, they tend to manifest some low self-esteem, which manifests in the way they want to withdraw their physical person from the public. They want to occupy a minimized position. Even when you look at their physical person, you will feel there's something wrong about this individual in the way they are behaving. They are not, taking their rightful physical space. And they will also have sometimes weight loss. A person can lose interest in the way they feed, and therefore they start manifesting even physically, having weight loss or even weight gain, because they are concentrating on food as a new source of support. And then thirdly is what I would call excess technological overuse as a behavioral manifestation. And you'll find somebody concentrating too much on the social media. They are ever on their phone. You talk to them, they are not here understanding what you're saying. They are surrounding themselves around the technology. They have removed themselves from human beings whom they perceive to be a source of harm, and then they have gone to the technology, which could be a source of pleasure for them. And this is very serious because it's becoming a big problem in this country. Technology is not only taking up our time for healthy interactions, but it's also harming us because it's exposing us to influence from other sources like pornography, like other addictions, or even joining communities which are very destructive, like the suicidal communities. So those are some of the ways in which you can tell that this person has got mental health issues. Sometimes they can even harm themselves also, even physically, to try and get the attention of significant others in their lives. And then of course in school, their grades can plummet. Somebody who's been doing well suddenly starts having grades plummeting, and the individual moving away from, becoming maybe aggressive towards the people that they have been relating with very well.
Working time for our children has proven to be a challenge for most parents, hence making them mentally unavailable at home.
It's a bit challenging, having spent most of the times at work and the child being at school. But what I normally make sure is that when I get home in the evening, I make sure that I interact with her before she goes to bed, especially making sure that she gets excited about her telling me of her experience in school with her teachers, with her friends, and whatever she learns and whatever that maybe has made her uncomfortable or disturbed. And actually that is how much I try to balance work and interacting with my child about mental issues. Personally, I normally create a friendly environment, and my children are girls, and I have decided to create that mother-girl environment almost all the time. And from this, I cultivated from even when there is no issue to discuss. That is, I make sure that there is that existing environment, friendly environment, even if there is no issue to discuss. So aside that, when there is an issue to discuss, it makes it easy for me to discuss the issue, and especially when it comes to an observation which maybe I have observed from the child, that there is an issue or that there is something which is disturbing the child and needs to be discussed. I normally observe out of the knowledge I have about development of children. I normally observe, and I make sure that I am always keen to see that there is something which is, if there is something disturbing the child, Secondly, I also inquire from the child in a friendly way that if there is something which is disturbing them, maybe for example about school, about her friends in school, about what her friends are saying about her in school.
The growing or the watching of their growth to other caregivers, because some caregivers may be aggressive, they may mishandle the children, and parents should watch out for any signs that the caregivers are not doing a good job on these children. And it's very easy to know, because a child can withdraw. They may now start showing that they are not warm towards you. But a good caregiver will manifest in the way the child is warm. They will show a sense of security when they approach you, when you come back from work. And that's what parents should look out for. When the child starts feeling disconnected, please watch out and find out whether they are really not going through a problem.
In an effort to rebuild the missing child-parent relationship, our respondents had the following suggestions.
Now, in terms of building relationship between a parent and a child, is that some of these outdoor activities are very important. For example, you can go out in the evening, sit together with your family, with your child, maybe talk, just have some meal in the evening, and then come back, take some walk when you're free. If you're a person who works from Monday to Friday, you spare the weekend for your children, take a walk with them, share those jokes, sit with them, do some co-curricular activities like playing soccer, visiting the children homes, doing activities together. This way they will grow with that bond, knowing that dad or mom or a parent or a guardian is approachable enough. There is a bond that will be built in there, so that even when you want to talk about any issue with them, even if it is private, they'll be receptive enough, because there is a relationship that you've already built with them. First of all is to avoid too much demands on your children. All right, too much dictatorship on your children. For example, you will find some other parents telling their children that they must take a certain career path. For example, the people in the media, you are a journalist and your child wants to go do some other course like medicine or agriculture, then the child forces the child to do media because that is what they wanted, that is what the parents did, but the child doesn't want that. In several cases, such kind of forces stresses the children, and they end up having some mental health issues. And it is as serious as it is, because we have seen even children committing suicide because of this kind of force from the parents. A parent forces a child that I want to see your transcript with A's, you must pass with this grade. And when the child is not able to bring that grade home, they decide to commit suicide on the way or even in school. So one way of avoiding this kind of thing, the mental health, and to make sure that your children are mentally stable, is to avoid dictatorship in the family, if I may call it, forcing issues to your children and the demands that cannot be met. Some even parents make demands that they themselves cannot meet.
Parents need to calm down and actually get to learn about their kids, get to know them individually, get to know what type take your child on a date, like especially for girls. I usually tell especially like new parents coming right now, I tell them, like, if you get a baby girl, take this child on a date, weka baba yake ndio at least hata ajuange the bare minimum, as in this kid will not now be impressed by small people huko nje akimwambianga peleke lunch, anaendanga na babake kwenda lunch. So do something that impresses her. So you see, you get to and then discuss these things. Tell her as a father what to expect from guys, what to nini. Don't usimfungie to a point hata akiweza kukuja kuambia kuhusu this guy, don't start looking at her like she's already sinned. She's already coming to you to tell you things. I think at a point as yes, we are in a place where these things need to be open because they're happening. because we need to stop being at a place where it's like we need to hide things so that vitu happen. The point is, at the end, you just make the best of the situation that you have, whether your parents are rich, whether they are barely managing and all that. And I think as kids also, as youth, we need to be considerate of also our parents. We need to consider they're also going through their own lives. As in, life does not revolve around you.
First, we have to identify the root cause of the problem. You know, the root cause is basically that in an African setting, a child has no say. Like, you as a child, you are perceived to not know nothing. No. So even when, as a child, uko hapo and you have something to say, you're just afraid of saying it because you fear that these people look down upon you and all that. So now that crops up the fear. Anxiety comes about when the parents have overbearing expectations on you. So unapata someone has unnecessary pressure ya like general life. Unapata mtoto wa nursery anashindwa kwenda nyumbani juu alishindwa kuandika ABCD zake vizuri. You see, like those are some wild things that usually happen to us, or rather happen to most of us when we were children. How to, improve that relationship? First, parents have to break cycles that they had from their own parents, because how they were raised is how they raised us also, because that's the only way they knew how to raise children. This was during a time where maybe the internet was not as vibrant as it is today, or they didn't have dissemination of information as we have it today, that people can tackle different issues and they can see how to, solve these said issues. The best way is parents need to break the cycle, their own cycles, so that they can know themselves and they can also learn how to know their children. You see, because you can't be forcing a child, nataka ukue daktari, because maybe the parent of your own parent was like, also want you to be a daktari, and now he or she didn't become that daktari, so he's also projecting his or her insecurities upon a child. So you have to make the parent break their own cycles and encourage that freedom of speech within the house. A child needs to say what it is they feel and how and what they like and how they like it. No, hakuna vile you'll just go. For example, like going to the supermarket, a parent will pick a toy saying that this toy, my child likes this toy, but ideally the child doesn't like that type of toys. Umebaia kijana inaitwaje harpoons because wewe pia uko na interest in fishing, but a child mse anapenda hizi gari nini, but juu hai conform na his norms when he was growing up, people need to be hands on. Sasa anasema hizo toys zingine ziko left out. But improving the relationship will require first the parent to break the cycles of their own mental issues. 1, 2, there should be freedom of expression within the house, so that a child can have that emotional bed to lie on whenever he or she feels distressed. See, simple.